The strangest story in the Bible starts with the confrontation, but that's not what makes it terrifying. It's not the king, it's not the army, it's not even the altar. What makes it terrifying is that a man of God survived public threats, then died because he trusted the wrong voice. He walked straight into Jeroboam's kingdom, stood before the king, and announced judgment on the altar. He didn't flinch, he didn't negotiate, he didn't back down. Then, hours later, he was dead on the death road, and the person who destroyed him wasn't the king. It was an old prophet who smiled at him, called him brother, and lied to his face. This comes from 1 Kings chapter 13. To understand why this trap worked, you have to look at the political landscape in Israel at the time. Israel has split into two kingdoms. In the north, Jeroboam built an illegal altar at Bethel, so people wouldn't go back to Jerusalem to worship. It was political control disguised as worship. So God sent an unnamed young prophet from Judah straight into that corrupt system. His mission was clear. Don't eat bread. Don't drink water. Don't return the same way you came. That wasn't random. Back then, that meant something very different. Eating a meal was more than eating. It meant agreement, fellowship, acceptance. God was telling him to stay completely separate from the corruption at Bethel. The prophet obeyed perfectly. He confronted the king, spoke the judgment, and when King Jeroboam tried to seize him, the king's arm withered. The altar split open, ash poured out. Everything God said would happen, happened. Jeroboam panicked and tried to bribe him. Come home with me, refresh yourself, and I'll give you a reward. But the young prophet refused. Even after facing a king, he stayed firm. And that's what makes the next part so disturbing. The real danger wasn't the king. It was a man who looked safe. There was an old prophet living in Bethel. He heard what happened, saddled his donkey, and followed the young man until he found him resting under an oak tree. Then he made the same offer the king made. Come home and eat. The young prophet gave the same answer. He said God had told him not to eat or drink there, and not to go back the same way. So the old prophet changed his approach. He said, I too am a prophet just like you. And an angel spoke to me by the word of the Lord, saying, bring him back to your house. But he was lying. And that's the real shock of the story. The Bible never fully explained why he lied. Maybe it was jealousy. Maybe it was compromise. Maybe he had lived too long in the middle of corruption and wanted to prove he still had spiritual authority. We don't know. What we do know is that the lie works. The young prophet heard the words prophet, angel, and word of the Lord, and he trusted them because they came from someone familiar. That's the trap. He resisted an enemy. He fell to a friend. They sat down and ate. And then the story gets to us. God spoke through the old prophet, not to excuse him, but to condemn the man he had deceived. The same mouth that told the lie now delivered the judgment. Because you have defied the word of the Lord, your body will not be buried in the tomb of your ancestors. Then the young prophet finishes his meal. Even that detail is strange. After being warned so strongly, he had every reason to be rattled, but he kept eating and drinking. Why? After the meal, the old prophet saddled his own donkey for him, and he left. But on the road home, a lion attacked and killed him. And the strangest part is what happens next. When people found the body, the lion had not eaten him. The donkey was still there. The lion was just standing beside the corpse, as if it had been assigned to guard the scene. That detail matters. It wasn't a random animal attack. It was a sign that something holy had happened there. This story is not just about one man's disobedience. It's a warning that reaches beyond Israel. God was showing us that corruption is deadly, even when it comes in a familiar voice. Corruption is when someone twists the truth of God's word for personal gain. It sounds spiritual, it sounds friendly. Most of us are ready for obvious enemies. We can spot obvious danger, but the most dangerous lie is usually wrapped in trust. It comes from someone familiar, someone respected, someone who sounds right. The young prophet survived the rage of a king, but he died because he trusted the hospitality of a man who spoke religious language without telling the truth. That's the warning. Be careful you let rewrite what God tells you in His Word. The stories we think we know are often the ones we understand the least. Which mystery in this story do you think has the strongest explanation? I'd genuinely like to hear your thoughts in the comments. This is The Unraveling. See you in the next one.